If the recording is going, we can open the public meeting. And first item on the agenda, I think, if I remember correctly,
get our
is approval
monitors?
of past meeting minutes.
Are they not working?
Have members had the opportunity to look through the meeting minutes that were posted online?
Yeah, I didn't really know because I don't remember.
Oh, what'd you hit? Oh. Ah, there we go.
What do you have to do?
Bingo.
Oh, that's blue. Okay,
Oh, there.
it's blue. As long as it's blue.
Share what yours is black and white. Except everyone's, it's really down. It's working.
That's okay.
Yep.
I can be colorblind if I have to be.
Get on the computer.
How come it went to sleep already?
No. Yeah, mine's orange.
Mine turned orange again.
Bingo.
Now, oh, there's. How come it doesn't want to turn on?
Got it. There we go.
Should go. Now that it's blue, blue's a good sign.
It was once before.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
I don't have any public comment cards, so
Oh, mine's off again.
it's shutting down.
I'll fix these two if you guys want to move forward.
Okay. So in the absence of public comment cards, I'm going to take it
Oh,
that
mine's
as a lack of public comments and move ahead with approval of the minutes. First ones are February 23rd. We also have March 22nd and May 24th. So I'll go back to the question, has everyone had the opportunity to look at the minutes?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I wasn't there, but yeah.
I would then entertain a motion to approve or amend the February 23rd minutes.
I'll move to approve them as presented.
Second.
You can poll the,
I'm sorry, let me get the names right on here because I'm looking at an old version that has Chair Metzen and,
Oh, geez.
so I'm gonna write your names here.
should we turn our name badges?
No, I just, okay, so I'm gonna just go in order of what I have written down here. Board member Met
Aye.
and board member, our Chair Basinger,
Aye.
board member Mann,
Aye.
and board member McLaughlin.
Aye.
That's 3 M's.
Okay, next we have March 22nd, and I note that on the members present, it says Ken Basinger and Claire Matt, but I happen to know that Jonathan Stone was present at that meeting because he voted.
Wasn't he on the phone?
No, the only
Which one is this? Is that May 24th?
I'm on March 22nd.
Oh.
Well, it's on both of them. Jonathan
that way on the-
got left off. He
On May
voted.
22nd too.
He's showing his
4th.
voting, and I remember him voting, but
Wasn't there one where he was on the phone?
there was.
On the 24th, May 24th he
Oh,
was.
it's on May 24th? Okay.
But he was actually here in March, I'm sure.
I think his picture was on the video when I clicked on it.
And this is March 2016.
Right.
Yeah.
Wait,
so you can make that change.
Sure. Amending to add Jonathan Stone in members present.
Did anyone have any other things? If not,
Are these from actually last year?
They are. There,
that's
apparently,
why we're doing 3.
They got
there's a
lost
cleanup
behind.
that needed to happen because there's a
Classic.
huge backlog.
Oh, got you.
So we're trying to clear them off.
Yeah, so we're doing 3 at a time, just so as not to overwhelm you with things to read.
One fell swoop.
Yeah.
So I can amend my
You can,
motion
You can make a motion to approve
as amended. I will so move that we approve these, 3 months of minutes as amended.
Oh, well, you can do that too.
I don't second that one because I'm not sure we amended the 24th of May.
Are we talking about the March minutes?
We're talking March only.
She
at the
just
moment.
said for all 3 of them.
Why don't you say March?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I think we've covered February, now we're on March,
Oh,
so we have to do
okay.
3 separate times.
Okay.
So you can do that. You can second.
I can second
For the March 22nd.
for the March minutes as amended.
Now we
Great.
will vote on
Okay.
ratification of the March minutes.
Board Member Met.
Aye.
Chair Basinger.
Aye.
Board Member Mann.
Aye.
Board Member McLaughlin.
Aye.
Now we'll look at the May 24th, and there I think we determined that Jonathan was participating by phone. And so that should be noted in the members present area.
And I believe they announced too during the introduction that Derek Metzen was absent. He's just not listed at all.
True.
One way or the other.
So we can amend the minutes to reflect that Jonathan Stone was on the phone and Derek Metzen was not present?
He was absent. I move that we approve the May 24th, 2016 minutes as amended.
I'll second that.
Okay, we're gonna go in the same order here. Board Member Met.
Aye.
Chair Basinger.
Aye.
Board Member Mann.
Aye.
And Board Member McLaughlin.
Aye.
Wonderful.
New business. First item is 17-619 grant request for porch repair at 402 John Adams Street. Is the applicant present? We'll first ask for the commission report, and then we will, or the staff recommendation, and then we'll give you a chance.
Yes, thank you. We have a grant request for 402 John Adams Street. It is a locally designated structure. The request is for $1,000, which is the maximum. It's in the budget. It appears that we've allocated or awarded 3 grants so far this cycle, which means there are $2,000 grants left before the budget year is over. This application is for porch repair to the home, and we've got, I have a vicinity map here. Let me fix the lights for you guys. Maybe not.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
the lights won't change. So we're at the corner of 4th and John Adams here. Let's see. Here's the front facade of the home. The applicant provided some nice photos and close-ups of some of the damage. She said the porch was recently painted just to kind of protect it temporarily from rain, but that there's rotting wood. There's a hole that's covered currently with plywood just for safety purposes. So the application would be to replace the decking and any of the damaged wood elements of the porch. The applicant provided 2 bids as required. And the, as far as the conditions go, just standard conditions, with one additional condition being that as proposed, that all the materials be replaced with wood, and that the width of the boards match the existing. And so that was the only additional thing that we kind of flagged for this application.
Okay. I will invite the applicant forward and start, please, by stating your name for the record.
Okay.
Welcome.
Thank you. I'm Sheila Kavanaugh, the applicant. And it's horrifying to see those pictures of my rotting porch in larger than life, have to say. I'm not sure what additional information that I can provide other than that I'm here applying because of financial need to try to make this repair happen. It's overdue. I had a roof repair that took everything and more than I had. So that was last summer, end of last summer's project. And so, you know, the roofing on this porch area is fine and dandy, but at the time, you know, it was obvious, like, we've got to get the underlying structure fixed. So I'm wanting to try to do it as soon as possible so that I can hopefully avoid replacing the underlying structure. But if that's needed to happen, it might go even deeper than what they've estimated, so.
Okay.
And just my commitment is to really try. I didn't measure, and perhaps the contractors both did, and I didn't notice that in the bid, but the one contractor especially, both of them talked about, the one contractor was very much into maintaining this exact same structure of the opposing boards running laterally and perpendicularly to the house, and having it be the materials that would be appropriate. And but I don't actually know what the exact measurement, if that was, I don't think even in the bid, but I'll certainly work with them and let them know that's a requirement if you do so grant.
Do any board members have questions of the applicant?
I do. I noticed both the bids that you received. One was from a guy in Washington. I checked both of them. I couldn't find his CCB number as a licensed contractor in Oregon under his phone number or his name.
Okay.
I think it was Copper Crow Services.
Crow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know that he's a licensed contractor in Oregon.
Okay.
That I could tell, which from a vetting part, person's got to be licensed, bonded, insured in Oregon in order to work on properties in Oregon.
Okay, well,
I couldn't find it on the website under, because you can look under either his name or his phone number, and unless it is, but it
So-
wasn't on his bid either.
Okay, I will
So he couldn't be
check
used if
into
he's
that.
not
If he's going to
licensed.
be, would it be somebody that he would
No.
contract with? So,
Technically, no, because then he'd have to be either a sub, as a licensed subcontractor, or an employee. So if he's not licensed in Oregon, he can't help you.
okay, so would it be, I know that that's the one that the bid that I felt
Right.
stronger about. Is it okay to switch to Gramada as long as
You can pick who you want, but they have to be
licensed in
licensed.
Oregon?
So you can ask him, but I can't find it on the website.
And maybe at some other time you can clarify, or I can get clarification about what you meant by the sub. They would have to be a subcontractor
Well,
license.
in other words, if somebody as a general hired him to do the work, he would still have to be licensed in Oregon.
Okay.
He can't technically work under someone else's license.
Okay, so basically, if he's doing the work, he would need to be licensed.
Correct.
And it's not that he would have the idea to subcontract to somebody.
couldn't even
who's
do that.
licensed. He could, or
He could not,
right?
no.
Because he's not.
And I don't believe the city will issue any monies unless they are licensed.
So I guess maybe I would need to,
You just need to verify and see that, and technically, any advertisement or estimate has to have a CCB number on it. So your other bid from Gramada, or however you say it, he's licensed.
okay. And those are the folks that did my roof, so.
Yeah.
I know that I can work with them. It's just that he was so quick and kind of seemed to be much more comfortable with the idea of having it be, just a slightly different look. But I really
You can just
want
do
it to be.
You can have them do it the same, and I think they're,
Same way.
$400 more or something, but
Yeah.
they may be able to work with you, but
Yeah.
maybe a little
Okay.
bit of that is because they pay for licensing and bonding and insuring.
Okay, well, I will check with
Yeah,
with
check it.
both. Thank
Yeah.
you.
We can add a condition of approval too.
Yeah.
that-
Yeah, I would, for sure, if we make a motion to approve it, which wouldn't be a problem.
And it looks, I just searched it as well. It looks like they may be licensed in Washington.
Okay.
But not here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a biggie.
Okay.
Any further questions?
Pretty straightforward.
So, can I make a motion?
You may.
So I would make a motion to approve 1719 grant request for porch repair at 402 John Adams with the condition of verifying that the contractor is licensed, bonded, insured in Oregon.
I'll second it.
The grant in the amount of 1,000.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, yeah, that's what.
for the grant for $1,000.
Is there a second?
I seconded it.
You seconded it?
Seconded it.
Okay. Let's see, Board Member Met,
Aye.
Chair Basinger,
Aye.
Board Member Mann,
Aye.
Board Member McLaughlin.
Aye.
The grant is approved.
Thank you so very much. I appreciate it very much, and I'll hopefully have so much nicer looking photos to share with you.
And
And I'll be in touch to
thank you for
coordinate.
taking care of that house. It's
Oh.
a very,
house.
I love my house,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's,
I was in it years and years and years ago. A friend of mine owned it at the time.
oh,
That was a long time ago.
come over when I have all of these various overwhelming projects done. Thank you so much.
thank you. On the agenda next is PC 17-146, the design advice for development on a residential site in the Kanema district. And we'll start with the staff report.
Okay. We received a request for design advice for a project here at 203 3rd Avenue in the Kenema National Register District. This is designated structure, and the proposal is to add an addition to the house and a detached garage, 2-story with ADU, accessory dwelling unit on the 2nd story. Applicant submitted existing conditions photos here. It looks like the house was built in the around in the 20s and then modified in the 1940s, adding this bay window here that kind of faces 3rd Avenue, although it's not quite visible from the street due to the length of the driveway and the vegetation. There's an existing deck that would be retained, and the addition would be built, this is a little small, kind of L-shape, making the house into an L-shape and joining with that deck. There's a zoomed in version of the layout. The applicant did submit elevations. And then elevations also of the detached garage and accessory dwelling unit. Staff hasn't really had a chance to speak with the applicant yet, but the things that we would be looking for if we were reviewing this would be, of course, you know, we're going to hear from the board, but staff would be looking at the siding for the addition to potentially match that of the existing home, or maybe be less, as that's a pretty wide reveal, or a large reveal, so it could be slightly less. Of course, we'd be looking for wood windows. Let's see, the windows in the new, let's see, can you guys see my mouse here?
Yeah.
So those windows, and then here it looks like there are 2 options that are being looked at. One a little more traditional, and then kind of more contemporary. But they're all paired windows, and so typically we talk about needing separation between windows, and so that would be kind of something that we'd be thinking about, and thinking about maybe conditions of approval. The massing appears appropriate. You know, it's a very small house, and the addition is clearly kind of separate. It preserves the existing house, and it doesn't obscure anything. And then the front porch here that's shown on the south elevation, we'd be looking at hoping to base the design of the front porch on the historic photo. Christina looked at this briefly and said she's seen historic photos of the house before it was modified, and that the existing, let's see, you can kind of see 1970s era, the metal railings, but so that was altered in the 70s, but previous to that, there are some photos out there apparently that show what the original design of that porch area was. And so would be, probably looking to base the design of this new porch on that historic design. And she also flagged that the side lights here are not typical.
Or the open porch.
Yeah. Let's see. The other thing I want to add, for the garage and ADU, the dormer, it appears to be appropriate, and we might, want to think about carriage doors for the garage door. As far as, having both of those structures on the lots, they're 2 very different buildings, and there's a lot of separation between them on the lot. It's a larger property, And so that appears to be appropriate. The applicant would probably need a preservation incentive to allow the ADU in front of the house. Typically, we require that accessory dwelling units, any accessory structures be behind the front of the house. In this situation, I believe there's an existing garage there, and so they're placing it in the same place. But adding the ADU to it, that would require preservation incentive. And then the other item that's kind of outside of the historic review is the height of that structure. Typically, accessory dwelling units can't be taller than the house.
That's right.
And so I think we are talking internally about what sort of process that would require, whether a preservation incentive would work, or if they would potentially require a variance before the planning commission. Also, if the existing garage that's there would be demolished, that will also go before the Historic Review Board for review, and that can be paired concurrently with the application for all the new construction.
Can you go to the site plan,
Yep.
please? Sorry. So everything's on these 4 lots, they own all 4 lots? Is that how this, am I looking at it right?
Yes.
So that is quite a ways away. Gotcha. But we don't know on here where the old garage was?
This
is where the new
Yeah.
one is.
Garage shop here?
Yes.
Yep.
That's where they're
The
building the
the
new
old
one on
garage
that.
is there.
And they're gonna put it back in the same footprint?
Just
I got
taking
you.
it up.
I got you.
I have a question about the lot, that diagonal line for the one where the house is. Is that not a rectangular lot?
Oh, yeah, it looks like it's cut off there.
I think that's Old Kenema Park. It's the
So-
property line, the boundary with Old Kenema Park.
What would that setback be? Would that be a side yard, backyard? Must be a side yard.
Yes.
So the setbacks there are 5 feet?
For R6, yes. And so they might need a preservation incentive for that as well.
Because it looks like it's
Right
just
up
about
The
within
existing one
a
is.
few feet
is-
of the property line. Yeah, right there, like on that corner. That upper corner, upper left corner,
Right.
right? Yeah, there.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah, it's hard to see what that is.
It says 12 inches.
Oh, it does?
Yep.
Oh, you got it bigger. Oh, yeah, that's not going to work. Yeah, they'd have to get a variance for that.
And it looks like the existing corner of the house is about exactly the same.
Which was probably the addition later on to the original. So back then it didn't matter, but now it does. So they'd have to probably get a variance for that, or incentive, or whatever. Gotcha. Yeah, I can't see, yeah.
Well, because I'm looking at a different drawing. I mean, I'm on a different page.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I
just realized.
Hey, there we go. I got it. Yeah. It looks great. It looks like there's good separation from old to new. It's just, yeah, that'd probably be an issue, huh? It's pretty tight. Garage. Yeah,
Would it?
it's a great idea. Okay.
Anything more from the staff report?
That's all.
In that case, we'll invite the applicants to come forward, or whoever is going to be the applicant's spokesman.
Hi there, evening.
And please state your name for the record.
Dave Spitzer, architect.
I'm Jim Riggle. My wife Laura.
Laura Rambo.
The floor is yours.
Thanks for your time tonight. So we really just want to get some design advice. This is a little bit of an odd lot. Obviously, we're not going to be able to put a garage or a secondary structure behind the primary structure. Whatever we do here is going to be in front of it. And the primary structure is very short. It's a one-story, more of a sprawling structure. Those are my two biggest questions. Everything else that Kelly said about in terms of materials, putting the space between the windows, I don't think we have exception to any of that. And we're already planning on doing that. It's really trying to make sure that we go down a path that is approvable in terms of the overall massing and the site strategy. For the setbacks, we finally do have a survey, so I can tell exactly, we wouldn't go any closer than we are currently right now. The 3'2" is, I guess maybe we are going a foot or so closer.
2 feet.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's a big issue or not, or how we would get around that. We could pull it west a foot or so, 2 feet, and not encroach any more than the existing house already does. But again, our primary purpose here tonight is just to try to get some design advice on the massing. And if this 1.5 story, 2-story structure is acceptable. All the details I think we can work out in terms of siding and windows and things of that nature. We will, match the main house. And if you have pictures of the front porch, I think that would be great. That would be helpful. We have one picture of the end of the house before they put on that unfortunate brick bay on the very end. I just saw that a couple minutes ago, and that the house used to be much more attractive.
Go to the back elevation with the two options. Yeah.
So you guys actually I think they liked the ones with the windows, did you not? Jim and Laura?
Yeah.
So, yeah, the one with the doors, I presented that to give them an option. Again, this overlooks the falls, so it's got a great view. It's right up on the bluff. But I think Jim and Laura actually liked the one on the left side, we're right above north elevation with windows.
That would
and
be
again,
more.
we don't have to do a ribbon window. We can put a 4-by member in between those and case it out like a traditional older structure would have.
As far as those windows go, I've tried the very best I can, and I can't find any way for anybody to see that elevation of our house that's not trespassing on my property. You have to be in a helicopter out over the river to see that.
A drone.
Pardon?
A drone.
Yeah, you have to be up in a drone.
Is,
The ground goes away.
on the left part of the elevation, is that vaulted?
Yeah, I think the entire structure, there'd be a true vault inside.
The left would probably be more appropriate historically for the style of the house. That window up in the gable probably wouldn't be. But I get what you're saying with the view. You probably have a killer view.
And again, I think that's fine because the client likes their traditional windows more than the door proposal.
Yeah, the front porch probably wouldn't work. It's just out of context or character with the style, even though there's two different parts to the structure and two different decades or periods, the 20s and then the 40s. But that would probably be more inclined to be a closed porch with a soffit, and probably the windows wouldn't work with the side lights, just because that's what's visible.
So you would actually probably enclose that porch rather than have just a structure above you.
Yeah,
Okay.
because you wouldn't find that in that period.
Well, we've been talking about a mudroom, so maybe that would be.
Well, I'm not saying close it in. What I'm saying is that open timber frame look wouldn't be appropriate. It would,
Gotcha,
you would
okay.
just have a gabled end with siding and a soffit, cedar soffit or something like that.
Sort of like I mean, it would be great to see that picture that you found of the front of the house.
Yeah.
I think right now, the picture that I just saw, it does actually have it opened, but it doesn't have the timber frame feeling. It has more just two nice columns with two beams and no cross beam or vertical piece there. A little more traditional, not timber frame.
Yeah, the windows probably wouldn't be so much either.
Side lights, you
I'd
mean?
like.
Yeah,
to-
the side lights.
I'd like to put a couple of historical things in to correct. My understanding is that the house was not built in the 20s. It was built in 1947 or 6 or so, after a fire.
That's what I was reading. I mean,
Yeah, I saw two different things when I read through it.
But if you look at it, it looks like there was an addition off the back.
I'll bring this up, and you guys can pass it around and see it, but this is a picture of the house back when. It wasn't a house, it was a garage.
Yeah, because
Yeah, those are garage doors on the end.
Yeah, it was a garage. The doors here are on our garage now.
can you
Is
pull up that
when they-
Is that the
picture,
picture that I
a
sent you?
picture of that house?
Yeah, this, you sent me
Yeah,
the
the picture one.
Yeah, yeah.
In the,
So,
oh, you want me to put,
Yeah, can you pull that
And
up?
that picture was taken in 1941.
Is
Yes.
it? Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so what I see is you've got this thing, and then you have it looks like an addition off the back because the foundation's different. And the roof line's different. So there's got to be, the original and something else
Yeah.
toward the river.
Well, and what you see there has a concrete slab under it.
Yeah, gotcha,
And,
yeah.
and the back part of the house that has a utility room and the kitchen in it has a crawl space.
Yeah, so this foundation, and then there was a slab inside, and then it turned into what that is. And they put the fireplace and stuff like that.
Yeah. The other thing, can you go to the one that shows the house relative to the lot lines? So the line on the top there, why that's not perpendicular, it's a diagonal, that's the donation plan claim line.
from way back.
Yeah,
And
So when they
it's
platted
triangular.
Kenema, I'm only 95% on this, but when they platted Kenema, Kenema didn't go, the plat didn't go across the DLC line. That's why this lot has that going across. And Marshall, if you look on the right-hand side of it, there's a triangle that we don't own. That's what's, well, you see Marshall on the word Marshall on the right. That's Marshall Street. Marshall Street ends up in that little triangle there. And with other powers in the city, we've negotiated for them to vacate that. And we'll end up owning some part of that little triangle. But to say that it's a complicated piece of property is understatement. I mean, it's just,
yeah.
there's all kinds of stuff going on with it.
Can I look at the ADU? Can you go to the conceptuals drawings?
The other thing that I read in the city's records is that in the inventory, when this inventory was done, I don't know, but at some time relative to the historic district, there was an inventory done, and the city commented about each of the houses in the district. And of this house, they said, of no significant historical value.
Non-contributing.
Yeah.
So, you know,
But it's still
things
within
like-
the
Can you
boundaries,
go to the
so.
other view,
Yeah,
the other elevation?
Yeah, with the matching siding and all
Yes.
that, that's fine. I mean, we want it to
Thanks.
look real nice, but I don't want to make it into something that looks like it was built in 1890 when it wasn't.
No. But for that period of time, there is context. But the ADU, am I looking at it right that you've got garage shot below where it says side north elevation?
Correct.
Okay, so,
So it's a three-story structure.
Three-story structure.
One story is halfway underneath, it's daylighted, it's halfway underneath grade.
Okay.
From the house, it would look like a two-story structure.
Yeah, but on the
Story
back,
back.
there's and what is that, like 9 feet, 8 feet?
Yeah, we haven't
Okay.
figured out, 9 feet, probably 8-foot ceiling, 1 foot of structure.
Can you go back to that other elevation, please? So you've got a garage and a garage on each corner on that main level.
Garage.
You've got a garage here and a garage around the corner, is that right? Garage door?
No, the garage door for the house has been removed.
No, I'm saying on this elevation that I'm looking at, I see a garage door, correct?
Correct, and that's
Okay.
facing the house, that is facing
Okay,
east.
so can we go to that other elevation? Yeah, so then I'm looking on the other side, you have another garage.
That could be a nice set of sliding glass doors. It's something, this would be Jim's shop, I believe he model airplanes. It would be something that he could open up and get fresh air.
And how wide do you think this is?
8 or 9 feet wide. The whole structure
overall.
right now is 20 by 30, and that may change a little bit.
So 8, so you got about 6 on each side, so you have prescriptive. All I'm saying is, I was just looking at trying to see that because I didn't see the other elevation that shows that lower.
Right.
I guess if I was looking at this, the right elevation, showing the overall height with that other garage.
Correct, with the garage doors
Yeah.
on the very lower level.
Yeah, so the part, I know very much about ADUs, you can't be taller than the primary structure. So you either get a variance, which is a process, or you bring it down to a single story with the garage below.
And that's kind of our question now. We know we're 600 square feet. We know we could probably put 2 accessory structures or even 3 on the site. Do we go ahead and consolidate everything and do, I think right now we're under the thought that consolidating everything and doing 1 600 square foot footprint is better than doing 3.
Oh, it's cheaper, it's less expensive.
Well, it's probably a better use of the site and the natural resources too. So I mean, that's our option. We'd still be putting them in front of the primary structure, but they'd all be 1 story. So that's why we're here. We're not,
Oh yeah, I'm just saying, it looks great, and it's far away,
Yeah.
those are things that are out of our hands. You know, getting the variance for where you're 12 inches away, that probably won't fly. The height thing, those are just in the code that we can't control, but.
right. What if it meets the overall historic, I guess if it seems appropriately for the site historically, that gives us a much better boost in being like, this is an inappropriate massing for this particular site.
Yeah, well, it'd be one thing if it was like, 10 feet away from the house, but
Right.
it's far away. I mean, so I don't know. I mean, I don't know if
It
anybody
stands
else.
by itself.
Yeah, and, I mean, it looks cool. It's a great idea. I'm all for
Is the upstairs going to be
ADUs.
your studio?
Pardon?
Is the upstairs going to be your studio?
Or you just rent it?
No, not rented, no. No, not on my property.
Well, I mean, that's what ADUs are for, right? People to stay in, or Airbnbs
I
or
plan to
Boomerang
die
children.
there, and so I might.
upstairs?
That could be. But my plan is to die there, and so if I need a caregiver,
Or they
Sure.
live there?
I have to have somebody to be able to live there. And Jim would need to be taken care of at the same time. I could only hope that we'd be there together, so.
It's a great
I'm
use of
looking
space.
long range, hopefully 10 years.
Yeah.
Say 20, 25.
Yeah, the way
If
you
I'm
guys
lucky.
go.
But you guys have been planning this for a little bit, right? You drew these
2
a year
years.
ago or so, year and a half?
We drew the house a year and a half ago. The ADU is a newer
Yeah, gotcha.
addition.
It's cool.
The slow timing was all about the sewer line.
Well, I'm looking at this, just thinking you got these 2 doors, that's not gonna work. You can't have one and one hitting, they'll hit each other if they both are open.
Oh, I see what, okay, good point. Yeah, I may,
Yeah.
hopefully I wouldn't have missed that, but no, I appreciate it.
No, but doors that kind of open
I've
would
missed that
be,
before, yeah.
that could open out or something would be cool, or the
Right.
other side, but yeah, if you ever,
Carriage doors.
you couldn't have them both open, no,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah, that would be an interesting.
yeah.
Well, the other thing would be to swap positions between the man door and the overhead
Yep.
door.
Yeah, you
and
could do
then
that.
would clear.
So I don't know from planning, as far as, we can give you design aesthetic ideas and stuff, but the zoning, that's out of our hands, right? That's not something we would deal with, right?
Yeah, one of your next steps should be a pre-application conference with the planning division. You'll have to get a geologic hazard review here.
What?
The geological hazard.
We have that,
Oh, you have that?
yes.
So
Okay.
we did that about a year and a half ago, and I think the question was we should do it again because so much time has gone by and the project scope has changed. Is that-
If the project's different, then we'll probably have to redo that with the
Okay.
new plans. I mean, we can look at that and see how different it is for you. And then that pre-application conference, we can also talk with you through any potential variances needed for height or setbacks. And that would be, if it is a variance that's required, then it would be something that goes to the planning commission more than likely. So you'll be doing kind of two sets of public hearings, historic review board and planning commission. But we can kind of talk through all of that at a pre-application conference.
Are you worried about getting variances for either of the things that I know you can't say, oh yeah, we'll give it to you, you guys are nice. Do those both seem like they're approvable variances from what you see in the past, or? I guess should we prepare our pre-application and get everything ready to go? And, no, the last 5 that have come in, we haven't been able to approve anything like that.
Right. Yeah, I would say have your pre-application sooner, before you get too far along with these plans. Come talk to us. Sooner is always better. And having the historic review board, adopt findings that these designs are appropriate for the district is helpful when requesting a variance for these things. So it can only help, but like you said, staff can't really say whether it would be approved at the planning commission.
They always say that, but most of the time it's approved.
I've probably had too many conversations with the city about all of this. And one of them was in a room right back over there, and we were discussing us giving the city an easement for their water line over our property that they never have. And the subject of the variance because of the short setback came up. And I got the distinct impression from that meeting that that shouldn't be a problem. As much as I told the city it wouldn't be a problem, but I'd give them an easement.
Well, we can try to go through a more formal process, I guess, and get all these comments a little more solidified, I guess.
Yeah, I'd recommend you kind of stay focused on the Historic Review Board at this point. The Historic Review Board does have preservation incentives to do some stuff. You have maybe a bigger basket of asks, and so, you might, depending on what your asks are, you may get some application for preservation incentives, some variances, depending on what you're doing. But since you have to go through 2 different bodies, you're going to have to try and figure out or be strategic about who you go where and at what point, or you may have to come back to HRB again if the, say, variance gets denied or something like that. We would love to talk to you a little bit more about it offline.
What's an example of a preservation incentive? Can you I've never heard that term before. It makes sense, but.
I think it's been used for setbacks. I mean, you guys actually might be more aware than I am, actually.
Garages and things.
Yeah. For setbacks for garages. Yeah, I think because there are sometimes on the lot line.
Basically, as I understand it, it's in effect a variance granted in order to achieve a preservation objective, or to facilitate
To preserve the
Preservation.
existing building that's already there.
no, not necessarily even that.
I can give you an
To
example.
preserve the appearance, to maintain the integrity of the structure of the neighborhood, surrounded structures.
When we created the code for preservation incentives, we had a property and there was an accessory garage. It was in McLaughlin. There was an accessory garage out on the property line, and it had since burned, but there was this foundation there, and the property owner wanted to build another accessory garage where that one was before. And so it was an historic review, and so they needed to go to the Planning Commission for a variance, but it was really historic review. And so the preservation incentives was created because historically the context of that application and that neighborhood had garages on the property line. And so the city thought that it would be a more streamlined process to allow Historic Review Board to have some authority because it's related to the historic district, because it makes a better historic district, rather than going through two different bodies for different things. So it depends what you're really asking your variance for. If it makes more sense in Kenema to have two-story accessory structures, right, then maybe Historic Review Board. If not, then you're looking at Planning Commission, but you're still looking at Historic Review Board reviewing the two-story accessory structure for its appropriateness in the context of Kenema.
It's a way to
That's kinda
circumvent
wordy.
the process based on the historic part of things.
It's to streamline because we wanted
Yeah.
to give Historic Review Board the authority to grant variances, because you understand, back in the day, things weren't built to the setbacks like they are now.
No, this house proves that.
Yeah.
You know? And the ADUs, I think it's a great idea. I'm not a big fan of that part of it, that it can't be taller than the primary structure. I'm not a fan of that.
Well, and this, to me, this is almost special, special conditions because they have 4 lots and it's set back so far from the primary structure.
Yeah, I think when you drive down, that's not the first thing you see. Yeah.
In fact, you don't see it
But
at
that
all.
determination, the acceptability of the height of the structure will be determined in the planning office. Yes?
Yeah, we'll meet and go through the pre-app with the applicants,
Yeah.
and then we'll walk through everything.
I do have a question about the existing garage. If I remember right, that's kind of hanging out in space. It's open underneath or built on piers or something.
How do you rule on this?
Yep.
So you're not really digging up the ground to put that garage underneath.
Actually, they would. That's a full foundation, yeah.
Now, the question is whether that would really be economical.
There.
It could be more
This is
economical
Third
to build
Avenue.
2 buildings
And
Uh,
then
yeah.
right
than to
here
scoop out
is the
this one.
parking
I'm
area for Old
I'm waiting
Kenema
for the
Park.
geologist
So
to get back
there's
to me with an
vegetation
opinion
here and
about whether or
here.
not she thinks
when
there's a
you
big
drive
rock
here,
right under
you
there.
can see this house
Oh.
if you looked there.
Yeah, I mean, if there's a big
But
rock
you
under
really
there,
can't
then
see this
that
until
isn't
you're
gonna fly.
up over here.
But if it's just soil, then digging it out would be the way to go. But we don't know yet.
Okay.
And the uphill side would require digging out. The downhill side, the right side there is almost at the proper grade.
Yeah, it's just like doing a daylight out.
True
off-
daylight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be more economical to put it all in one,
So long as there's not a big rock.
yeah. Cool.
Any other questions or comments?
I always forget.
Do you feel like you have a sense of the design requirements that we're going to,
I've been beat up many times before by a historic review board, so
That's
oh,
not,
not by us.
I'm fairly decent.
more about working together.
We try to, yeah.
All right, you guys are nicer then, thank you.
All right.
Oh, would you put that in the file, please? I only have it on paper. I don't have Ken, you've got it digitally?
I hope so. I had part of the folder that those photos are in got damaged, so I don't know if they're still there or not. Those photos came from Dale York down at Kowalka, and they were taken by a great niece or double great niece who came to visit Kowalka in 1941. She stayed for the summer with her little brownie camera, and she took pictures of everything. And that house belonged to a relative of theirs, and she went up there one day and took the pictures that I sent to you.
Wow. I must have it digitally then, somehow, some way,
Yeah.
so I'll get it,
That's kind of cool.
get it in the
Yeah, it
Civics
is.
file.
I can take the copy if you want to hand it to me now,
Okay.
and put it in the design advice goes into the record, when you apply for historic review, so it'll go into the record.
And I'll take a look and see if those pictures are still there, and I can send them to you again.
I've got to have it in Outlook somewhere.
I did send them to you by email, so I know that
Yeah,
they
no,
were.
Oh,
that's
so there's
my point, is
electronic
I've got to
somewhere.
have an email in Outlook as an attachment somewhere, so.
That there were about 100-some pictures in that folder,
Wow.
most of them down south.
But that was the only one in my house.
Right.
Great, thank you all for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice seeing you guys.
And so that concludes our discussion there. PC 17-145 is HRB goals update, and I think we have a staff report coming.
Yes, I just shared the previous goals that were set 2 years ago. I didn't plan on really discussing those unless the board would like to tonight. This was just kind of a heads up that we want to revisit these, maybe set some new goals at our first meeting in 2018.
Cool.
Something that was on our list of goals years ago when John and I were on the board, and I was reminded of it today when we were looking at those color brochures that we were oohing and ahhing over. One of the goals that we had then was to provide an information packet for new property owners in the historic districts.
Or
Christina
for-
put
for
something
historic
together.
Properties.
I remember that.
Yeah,
It's a packet of stuff.
as,
So
I
you
know
live in a
that realtors would love to be able to have that and hand it out. And I had a preliminary copy, I've seen about 2 or 3 preliminary copies, but I'm not sure we ever got official approval of it.
Okay. I can
And I would like to
investigate.
revisit that.
Okay.
It was a while ago, I remember. There was a whole bunch of stuff with resources or something like
Yeah.
that. And Christina put,
It was like in a,
it's a packet thing of
packet.
stuff.
Yeah.
She would know.
opened it up
Yeah.
and,
Yeah, I
yeah.
can check with her and see if we have anything formalized and kind of finalized.
Well, there was one that they had done, you know, and handed out. What is the requirement for realtors? Is it part of the process that if it's an inventory structure, are they supposed to disclose that? Or is
Absolutely.
there, yeah, but I mean, do they all do that?
Yes.
They do. It is a requirement as far as a disclosure that they're in an inventory
Yeah.
property.
That's a material condition, and state law requires that it be disclosed to the buyer.
Okay, because it didn't used to be, and so that's, okay, cool. So they can't say, oh, I didn't know I lived in a, you know, okay.
I think,
Heard that before.
yeah,
Yeah,
I know for sure that
exactly.
I'm pretty darn careful what I tell buyers in the historic district, and I'm pretty sure everybody else is too. I don't know that there's anybody doing business around the town who isn't aware of.
Wouldn't do that, well, especially in Oregon, if they're a realtor that specializes in Oregon City with, you know, or,
One thing the city has done, so all of those resources should be on our city website. One thing I think that the city did well is how we put our inventory sheets on our website. We deliberately put them so they're each their own separate page. So if you were to Google your address, which you would do if you were buying a house, it would come up, and it comes up one of the
That's awesome.
first. So it's not like part of some long list or something. It's each address has its own website for that reason, to making it so to can connect the dots between people who Google their addresses and getting information out there.
that's awesome.
Isn't that guy a realtor?
Jim Riggle.
Jim
yeah,
Riggle
yes.
is, yeah, he's been a realtor for a long time.
That's what I thought.
Another thing was, you know, long time ago, they used to have like workshops or seminars or, you know, things for people that lived in Kenema and, you know, for inventoried houses that they could come. And I think that would be a kind of a cool thing to do during Preservation Month, which is May, yeah. But
We did that some years ago when there was things around the Carnegie Library. We invited a couple, I think we invited Rejuvenation or something to bring wood windows. Somebody
windows,
came in to showed, you know, stuff, and we manned the booth, and everybody that came to the booth were renters. Nobody owned, for some reason they wanted candy. I remember all that. It was in the summertime.
Yeah.
We have done that. We did it last year, actually. So we use a certified local government grant that we get. So the city does a 50-50 match within our biennium. We pay $10,000. We accept a $10,000 grant. And with that, we do different things. Last year, we did some of these classes of like how to fix your wood window.
Yeah, that's usually the
with
thing.
the mood and the attendance. It depends on what the class is, but the attendance varies from like 5 to sometimes we've got up to like 15 people at some of them. This year we're using a majority of the money. I'm not sure exactly the split, but a lot of it is going into the information packets that we'll put up on the agenda when they're finally
But-
ready to go out.
But you know, some years ago, the SHPO came up and did a couple of seminars. I think it was above the fire station. On preservation and houses and stuff, and I went to one of those, and it was pretty cool.
it was pretty well attended.
Yeah.
I actually went to those too.
The one lady, the main lady, what's her
Kathy
name?
Galbraith?
Curry.
Gill.
Curry Gill, yeah. She came up and did it. Yeah, Curry Gill, something like that.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of people, and
Great.
I don't know if the city put that on, but it was pretty well attended. I mean, it was like you know, if you live in a historic neighborhood, the incentives, the grants, what SHPO looks at, you know, all that stuff. It was like a morning session, and then there was one in the afternoon, and it was.
Well, like what's the benefits of, you know, owning a historic house or how to research? I mean, there's a lot of
tax
different.
incentives, you know, all that
Yeah.
stuff. It was pretty informative.
And, you know, that's not something that's readily available, I don't think, to Joe Q. Public, you know, he wouldn't, you know, and so it's.
They do those, but I think they've done them throughout the state.
Oh,
Like they've had them back in Eastern Oregon, they've done them in Southern Oregon. You know, SHPO does it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't even know if they do it anymore, but it was.
Or even through like Restore Oregon. Yeah. Do they
Yeah.
To,
And that lady's come before to do stuff. So anyway,
but that's
all
something,
good
you know,
stuff, eh?
that might be kind of a, you know, informational so that we can, you know, the more people know, I think the easier it is to try to get them to comply.
So I can do a little bit of research before the January meeting, come back to you with maybe some information on that.
Not that you don't have anything else to do, right?
Would there be any possibility of incorporating that in a very high-traffic situation like the First City Celebration, where I think you were there with the Trails Project and Christina was there with the Legacy Project. I know a lot of people stop by to see you. Would there be something that could be done to put together a program to go there? Because you know you're going to have the traffic.
Right? Yeah, it's a good venue.
Just a,
And another resource would be Bosco Milligan Foundation,
Yeah.
you know, for,
Okay.
so you're going to get some more information for the January meeting?
Sure.
And
Yeah,
there is not going to be a December meeting.
correct.
Anything else on goals?
No?
Communications?
I think we've talked about everything.
I think that was communication. In that case, I would entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Yeah.
We are thus adjourned.
That was a long one.